Good evening, Enter the Ring Live fans. Welcome to another show. We are live Tuesday, January the 19th, 2021, with our very, very special guest, Mr. John Molina Jr., better known as the Gladiator in the world of boxing. What's going on,
Hey guys,
everybody?
doing? How's it going?
How's it going, Johnny? Man, it's good to see you, brother.
It's good to see you guys, man. Just living the dream. What can I say? I went from gloves to cuffs.
That's awesome, bro.
So,
Hanging those?
What were you saying, bro?
what'd you say, Eric?
Are you getting the hang of it?
Oh yeah, it's a blast, man. It's just I'm having a good time with it. It's definitely hard work. It was hard having to utilize a muscle that I haven't used in 20 years, which was my brain, but we figured it out and it still worked.
That's awesome.
So obviously this is something we've been wanting to do for a while now, Johnny. I know you've been real busy with, probably just working a lot of hours. You're in your new career now, taking care of your family. Obviously we're still trying to get this show, trying to get a little bit of notoriety and a little bit of following on the show. And what a better way to have somebody like you come on, somebody that's kind of been there, done that in professional boxing. So we appreciate the time today. We kind of touched on it a little bit. What's life been like after boxing, Johnny?
I would be lying to you if I told you I didn't miss it. I miss it dearly, but again, you don't go the last 20 years of your life fighting not missing it. Now the fight's a little bit different. Now I got to articulate why I'm fighting, so it's a little bit different. But I've been busy with my new career. I'm excited in being a deputy. I'm glad I can give back to my community in that way, and it's a very exciting career. I needed a career that was going to give me the same adrenaline rush that I got in the ring, and this is one.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Eric or AJ, you guys want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think one of the things that is going to be sorely missed, Johnny, is that attitude that you brought to boxing when you were fighting was the fact that you didn't run from anybody. I know you said it before 100 times. Nobody at this level, nobody's scared of anybody. But it seems today people are more concerned about that precious O than they are about creating those epic battles like the ones that you had in the fight of the year against Lucas Matisse, the shocking upset of Mickey Bay, handing Big Mouth Hank Lundy his first loss. I mean, the list goes on, and especially coming from what happened in that shocking loss to DeMarco. I don't want to say it, but it happens for some fighters. So I want to know a little bit about that, Johnny. Being a guy that was on the up at that time, I'm saying, a highly touted prospect and stuff, and then this fight with DeMarco and stuff at that moment and stuff, what was going on in your mind that could maybe help some of these younger fighters that are running into that situation right now?
It was a good learning experience, and then it was a humbling learning experience, and it was I attribute all of it to experience, because when DeMarco did hit me, I felt like I wasn't hurt to go down and take a knee. So it was a lack of it was inexperience on my part. I should have lost the round and lost the fight. And Jack Reese did the right thing by calling the fight, because going back now and watching it, it looks like I was taking a lot of punishment without anything answering back the way I was covering up.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at it, but I'll be honest with you. After that loss, it was like everyone who was with me, they were kind of like, oh, well, maybe he's not what we thought he was going to be. And it's all about the individual and who you want to be and what you're going to do. And I said, no, I'm going to dig deep, and I'm going to show the world what's up. So I had a stay busy fight with the late Dan Goosen, who was my promoter at the time. We had a stay busy fight against some slap. I don't know what his name is, but it was a stay busy fight. I knocked him out. And then we go and we get the fight with Hank Lundy, Hank Lundy was a NABO champion. He was undefeated at the time. We were going to have to go to his backyard, and we were going to have to fight him. I said, let's make it happen. So before that fight, before the DeMarco fight, I was rated number 2 in the world. And then I lost to DeMarco and then just kind of fell off. Had one warm-up fight, and then I got the Lundy fight. And Lundy was rated number 2 in the world. He took my spot at 2 in the world. And so we fought, and I ended up knocking him out in the 11th round, and that just shot me right back where I needed to be. So it's all about you got to have the wherewithal to face adversity, especially in this sport. and overcome it. And I think that's why the fans really loved my style, because no matter what, win, lose, or draw, they knew no matter what they were going to get a fight.
Yeah.
I know. I totally agree. Like I said, I mean, I know in your last fight, me and my brother were there against Josecito Lopez, and we knew that was going to be a battle. You know, two guys who he's called the Riverside Rocky, but in reality, you guys are both like Rockies in a sense. You know, it didn't turn out the way that you wanted it that night, but still, I could be honest with you, it was as big as the Spence Porter fight was. People were running out of the beer gardens to get there because Molina and Lopez is coming up. I mean, this was a fight people wanted to see.
No, people definitely wanted to see, and that's what breaks my heart, because my fight career was done before that fight even started. That's not taking anything away from Lopez. He's a great fighter, and the right man won that night. But as far as a fighter knows when it's over, and entering in that ring, something just didn't feel right. I don't want to say it now to take away from Lopez's win. I think he just came off of another great win, so I'm happy for him. But that's why it was time for me to hang it up when I did hang it up, because I knew in that Lopez fight, that switch that I speak of never really flipped over, and that's how I knew that nature ran its course, and it was time for me to allow the younger bucks go ahead and enjoy the sport.
It was time to get your adrenaline drunk, from somewhere else. So that's good.
It just like when I fought Matisse, when I fought Provodnikov, when I fought those guys, there was that switch that went off. That, okay, we're gonna get down. And then with the Lopez fight, I never really got to get into that gear. I don't want to say it was because I never kicked into the gear, because then again, it sounds like I'm taking away from Lopez, and I don't want to do it. He's a good friend of mine. I think he's a great fighter, and I wish him well in the twilight of his career where he's at right now. But for me as a fighter, it was time.
Very well said, Johnny. If I could just say, very well said.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, speaking about that, only because I had such disdain for the guy, maybe we could take a quick little glance here to the past and a little bit of Hank Lundy.
He's standing in front right now. He's on that road. He's holding up and he's hurting himself by holding the road.
Yeah. You pretty much could tell at that point that Lundy was done. You know what I'm saying? And all his big talking and stuff. And it was kind of ironic to me because Crawford got him afterwards too.
He was an interesting individual. When I first fought him, very flamboyant, very outspoken, which rightfully so. You got to be confident in this sport. And he's the only guy for about 4 years after the fight we did not like each other. We ran into each other in Vegas, I believe, at a Mayweather fight. And he was being a social media gangster, saying, if I ever see John Molina, I'm gonna go to him, I'm gonna hit him. He's running ducking from me. He don't want to fight me again. So I went up to him in front of all the cameras. Hey, come here, Hank. And I said, what's all this stuff you're talking on social media? You're gonna kick my butt. I said, when you say stuff like that, you scare my wife. Oh, I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. All right, come here, give me a hug. Let's take a picture. And we took a picture. Everything worked out good. And truth be told, me and Hank Lundy became actually good friends. He flew in and helped me for a couple camps. And he's actually a really talented fighter that just never really got the opportunity to showcase that ability. I mean, he did. He had the option, the times, but he was actually a really athletically talented fighter. I take my hat off to him.
Yeah. I heard Lundy, obviously being a Philly fighter, I know he played football, he played multiple sports, but I think a lot of it maybe had to do, Johnny, do you think with the trainer changes that he was going through? I know he went through quite a few trainer changes there for a while.
It could have been, but that would be like, well, I don't think it's that. I think it's just the powers that be. I don't even want to say the powers that be. He just never really, had he been not in Philadelphia, maybe over here in Los Angeles, his career might have took a different path, I believe.
Or was it the John Molina right hand that kind of sent his career into?
Well, it was that kind of disrupted things for a second. But
so real quick,
that was a great fight. After that fight, it shot me to number 2 in the world, and then. Again, being a young fighter myself, I went on to have another upset loss against Klimov. And I'll never forget the story that no one knows. I was like, oh my gosh, I had this upset loss. The world is like, damn, there goes Molina. I was a 25-1 favorite against Klimov, and I lost to Klimov on points. Truth be told, I didn't train for that fight. So I come back home. I drive into Dan Goosen's office, which was in Sherman or Studio City at the time, Goosen Tudor Promotions, and I walk in there, and I say, Dan, and the first thing that Dan tells me is, John, you really effed up on this one. He was like, I said, I know. He's like, I said, I don't care who it is, make any fight happen. I gotta prove to the world that I'm still relevant and I'm still here. He said, hey kid, it's gonna be tough, but go home. I'll give you a call on Monday. This was Friday. So I go home. Luckily, I had just fought DeMarco. I made good money on that fight. So the money aspect, like I had a good money in the bank. Things were good. My wife was pregnant with our first kid. So, and I had money for sponsorship. But if you take another L like that, it's not going to be good, because making money in boxing, I remember I had to come up the back roads to make that real athletic money, if you want to call it that, athlete money. So I get a phone call, Dan Goosen, hey John, come down to my office. I got a fight for you. Yeah, no problem. Boom. I go down there, drive all the way down there. I get in the office. He's all right. I got a fight for you. Main event on Showtime. Okay, this sounds good. He says, you're fighting Mickey Bay. He says, all this is sounding too good to be true. I was like, yeah, sign the contract. He's like, no, there's one catch. I said, well, what's the catch? He said, the fight's in 33 days. I said, oh, you got to be kidding me. So at this point, I'm like, I got no choice. I have to do it. I'm walking around probably about 160, and I got to fight. The fight's at 135. And if I were to take another L, like the way I took an L before, all my sponsorship, everything would have been off the table. It would have been a tough uphill battle, to say the least. So I took the fight. I did it all old school, ran the old school way, did it like Rocky, and got to the fight. And we know what happened with the fight. It was the comeback of the year 2013.
Hey Johnny, if I can interrupt, can I show the people real quick that 10th round?
Oh yeah.
Here we go. So this is John Molina versus Mickey Bay from Las Vegas. For people that don't know Mickey Bay, he was one of the highly touted young prospects coming up. He was undefeated at the time.
He was Floyd's #1 prospect at the time.
Here we go. Yeah. 10th round, 10th and final round. Molina versus Bay.
Respective corners as we headed to the 10th and final round of this lightweight attraction at the joint of the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. Mickey Bay, 18-0-1 with one no decision against the 25-3 John the Gladiator Molina. The Spirit versus the Gladiator here in the final round of this fight. Nice right hand by Molina, but never a setup, Raul. Everything is trying to end this fight.
Not at all. Just single shot, too open, and you see Bay taking advantage, powdering up the middle. Good body shot. Look at that, short shots. And short shots.
Beginning to work the body like his trainer Floyd Mayweather Sr. asked him to do.
Brutal body punching. Molina back.
Now, Johnny, right there at that moment right there, were you hurt like they said you were, or what was going on?
That's the first time they actually were pretty accurate with the commentating, because that shot really hurt. Like he hit me
those body shots. Those
body shots really they stiffened me up big time, and I was like, oh my god. And then again in my head, the switch that I was talking about, I said, no, I'm not going out like that. It's not going to happen like that. I'm going to take care of business.
AJ knows what a body shot will do. I'm the only man on the planet that ever put him down with the body shot.
I'm going to stop the video one more time before I end it, because there's a point in there where I think, Johnny, where you said, you know what? I'm done playing with this guy. Here we go.
Get up and hurt.
And he is hurt by Mickey Bay. Bay wanting to close the show impressively here in front of the fans in Las Vegas. And really, it's all one-way traffic.
That's the moment.
Right there. That's
right there. That's when you, what do you think, Johnny, when you were just kind of like, I'm done with this clown?
What I wanted to show him that truth be told, when he saluted Floyd, that pissed me off. And I saw the and I was like, I don't like people I'm a big fan of boxing. Don't ever disrespect another man in the ring. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I felt that was disrespectful. and he just woke up the giant. I was like, okay, it's either kill or be killed. He's either going to kill me or I'm going to kill him. But I'm going to get him out of here.
Okay, fans, put on your seatbelts for the finale. Here it comes. Bay versus Molina.
Now for Mickey the Spirit Bay.
I have Bay way ahead, 89-82 on points going into the 10th round. Molina needs a 9-run home run. And it doesn't look like he's going to get it.
And look how comfortable Bay is. Round number 10, he's really worked hard. Very poised, very loose and relaxed. Checking his body a little bit, just, you know, signs of a confident fighter.
Get him up, get him up.
Mickey Bay's had so many roadblocks throughout his career.
I was going to say, Stephen, you're the one who told us too. He hasn't really lived up to his potential. Beginning to showcase that potential.
There it was.
Got stopped. He got stopped with that left hook by Molina. Molina has hurt Mickey Bay in the 10th round. I was just going to say, it looks like Bay has lived up to his potential, but never count out John Molina. Oh, and Bay, how is he still standing? One hand by Molina, and the referee has stopped the fight. Mamma mia! Unbelievable turn of events here in Vegas.
Hey, I got to say something. The right hand that missed when he was heading towards the ropes. If you would, I don't think he might still be asleep if that right hand would have landed.
I would have decapitated him on that shot.
Oh, that would have went out to the third round, the 13th row.
That was straight backyard brawl style. That would have connected. That would have been like Rocky 10.
You know, Johnny, I noticed something there too. Right after he got that little flurry against you, and you said he did that salute out to Floyd in his camp, and you had that look on your face. Bay, I don't know if he just felt something from you. Maybe it's something that happens in the ring, but he kind of went in retreat mode a little bit. All of a sudden, his aggression, he wasn't coming at you like he was before. You landed a couple stiff jabs and another short right, and then obviously that ended to the led up to the finale and stuff. Did you kind of feel that?
Well, I knew the last round going into that fight, I had hit him with a hard body shot, and he was I looked across from him as I was sitting down, and he was trying to like rub his side out. And I was like, oh, I'm hurt every time. And I sound like Mike Tyson, but every time I hit him, he was like, he was like me, little. So there, I'm getting to this guy. And then then he was leaning in with his hand down. So I caught him with that left hook. It was hard. Believe me, it was hard. He was out after that shot. And then I was looking at Big Dracula. He's like, dude, you're either going to stop this or I'm going to kill this guy right here.
Yeah.
And he stopped it.
When you landed that left hook, Johnny, you felt it. You knew that was the punch.
It was solid. It was like hitting the mitts, man. It just felt it was clean. Like, I don't care who you are. If you take that shot, either you're gonna get on skates real quick, or it's gonna buzz you pretty good.
Yeah. I still get excited watching the end of that fight, man. I like it just happened, man. I still get excited watching that.
And then here's the real truth behind all that, which whatever. I'm retired now. I can let it all out. So going into that fight, I just signed the contract. I should have made about 80 grand for that fight, given it was a ShoBox main event. But the reality is, I only made, I think my take home was like $6,400 for that fight.
Oh,
but
that was a true up against the wall make or break fight right there.
That was, but the behind that fight, after that fight, I signed a 6-year deal with Al Heyman that changed my life, and I got paid like a real athlete.
Yeah,
what you deserved. Hey,
that's
Johnny,
that's when life changed for you.
I got a quick question, Johnny. What did you say to Mayweather from the ring? What did you say?
He was just telling me, "Oh, don't worry, man, it's all good." I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry I had to do that to your boy." He's like, "No, that's bullshit." And after that, I got signed by Al Heyman, so it worked out.
Oh, I thought it was something worse. I thought maybe you threw him like an FU or something like that and stuff.
No, I was like, your mama. No, I was kidding.
So Johnny, if you don't mind, I mean, obviously, with the opportunity here, let's skip forward a bit and stuff. And after that fight, obviously with Mickey Bay, and let's talk about your bout with, which was the Ring Book Magazine Fight of the Year, Lucas Matisse.
Yeah.
Tell us how that bout kind of came together.
That fight came together. So I get a phone call and I need to go out to Vegas for Canelo Angulo. So this is how boxing works. I go out to Vegas and I meet with Sam Watson, who's pretty much the face of Al Heyman. And I go out there and he comes out, all right, John, do this, do that. And then he comes up to me. We're in the media hall for like Canelo and Mayweather, Angulo are there, and we're all hanging out. And then Sam comes up to me and says, hey, Al wants to talk to you. I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I was like, okay, where's the phone? Because I anticipated it was going to be on the phone. He said, no, he's here. He wants to see you face to face. I was like, oh, okay, it's getting serious. So we walk in the MGM. We go in the back office, like literally inside the industrial area where all the workers are at. We go in a back room. And then sitting in the corner, there's a man right there in a suit. He says, John Molina Jr., give me a hug. He's like, I've always liked you. You fight like a kid from poverty, and you're very articulate. Give me a hug. And he says, I got to fight for you, kid. So what are you talking about? He's like, I got to fight for you, and it's Lucas Matisse. And I said, okay. He's like, you don't have to say no. You don't have to say yes now. So go home, enjoy your weekend. Give me a call in a week. Let me know what you think. So yeah, no problem. And that was the time when Danny Garcia fought Mauricio Herrera. And I personally, Danny's my boy, but I thought Mauricio won that fight.
I do as well.
I do as well.
And,
I saw it too.
And
that was a fight in Puerto Rico, right?
What's that?
That was a fight in Puerto Rico, wasn't it?
Yes, Puerto Rico. Yeah. And so Al said, give me a call when you decide. So I get home, talking with my wife. I explained to her, and you got to remember, at this time, Lucas Matisse is a killer. He's a 140-pound killer.
Yeah.
He was like 34-0 with 30 knockouts, 34-1 with 30 knockouts or something like that. Just a brutal puncher. And my last fight was at 135, so I got to move up in weight to fight this guy. And I told my wife, I remember having to sit down with my wife and say, hey, I'm gonna make this fight happen. I'm confident I can. If I hit him, I'm gonna hurt him. And so I put a phone call into Al. I said, what's up? Because Al didn't want to hear it from this person or that person. When it comes down to a serious fight, he wants to hear it directly from you. That you say, yes, let's make the fight happen. So I call Al. I said, let's make the fight happen. He said, perfect. I'll take care of it. And the rest of the other juicy details I'll give to you guys behind or off camera. But, it worked out. And I was home, and believe it or not, even in that loss, it was actually like a win for me because everyone knew I belonged in the elite. In the elite, and that was a great fight.
Fight of the year.
Can I show the
matter of fact? I just talked to Matisse about 2 weeks ago.
Can I show the highlights on that real quick?
Yeah.
Here we go. People that don't know, this was the Ring Book magazine Fight of the Year 2015.
2014.
2014.
August 1st.
2014.
I'm not as old as you, man.
I know. Here we go. Matisse, Molina.
Give each other an inch, and Molina goes down, and the referee's ruling it a knockdown. If the StubHub Center had a roof, these two have already blown it off. Pulverizing shots by Matisse. Jacks the jaw with the left. Man, he is taking all kinds of punishment. And you wonder how much more? And down goes Molina after a brutal onslaught. A legendary scrap here at the StubHub Center. They continue to go toe-to-toe. What more do you want? That is it.
Now, of course, on that didn't show your knockdown.
Good stuff.
Your knockdown of and I apologize. Your knockdown of Matisse. And what round was that? Did you knock him down again, Johnny?
I knocked him down in the second round and the seventh round, I believe.
Yeah, twice.
So hey, real quick, hold on one second, John. Okay, in the ring, you just knock somebody down. What is running through your veins? I mean, what do you?
I want to hurry up and get him out of there, but again.
Got to be smart.
That was a very high magnitude, big fight for me. That was my first fight under Al Heyman. And I thought this kid was playing possum. But if you watch after the first knockdown, then when I drop him, when he's walking back to his corner, he can't even walk straight. I didn't realize how hurt he really was. I thought he was playing possum to try to get me to come in and sucker get me or sucker punched me.
Yeah.
And but again, it was just a great fight. I give him credit because that first knockdown, everyone thinks it was that grazing right hand on the side of the head, but it was right before that there was a punch that landed, a right hand wham. It was so hard. He never really recovered from that, and then that little punch just did the rest of it to get him out.
So hey, real quick, a question, Johnny. Johnny, if you can go back and be in your complete prime, I mean, in peak physical condition, everything's, who would you fight today in your peak condition?
That's a hard one.
A fighter like that's fighting today or in my time?
A fighter that's fighting today. If you were in your peak and you can go in and fight, who would you want to fight?
I know who I'd like to see Johnny fight.
Past, present, and future?
Past, present, future. It doesn't matter.
My dream fight would be me and Arturo Gatti.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Dude, I'll sell the horse and the farm for that one, dude.
That would be my dream fight. Both of us in our prime. I think that would be a war.
Have you ever met? Did you ever have a chance to meet Gotti, Johnny?
I never got the opportunity to meet him. Unfortunately, as they say, he committed suicide off of a chair. Like with
Terrible.
So with that being said, no, I never got the opportunity, but I just feel like that and both of us in our prime would have been a war.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you think your styles would have matched up? Would it just be perfect?
It would have been just like me and Matisse, if not better.
Okay, cool.
I would have to lean toward you only because I believe you had the heavier hands in Gotti. Gotti was a good hitter, but he did that with a lot of like being a weight bully and stuff where, and he didn't have the greatest chin. Gotti was dropped quite a few times. So, I mean,
yeah,
Mickey Ward to me wasn't a killer puncher, but if I have to look back at one fight that I wish, and it never happened, it's kind of like that old Marquis GC in back in the old days, the fight that never happened. And it was a fight I was looking so forward to. I mean, I was going to be the first person there, and that was you and Victor Ortiz. There was
that would
so
have been
much
a great
talk.
fight.
It was going to be a brutal fight.
It was going to be a brutal fight because Victor, believe it or not, Victor can crack. He can crack. He's strong. When his heart is not in question, the kid can fight.
Yeah.
I was 20 years old and Victor was 18 or 17, and he came to the gym. We were both amateurs, and we started sparring. And they only allowed us to go 3 rounds. We were beating the shit out of each other. The LA Times were there. There was a writer there from the LA Times. And the Robert Garcia stopped it, and so did my trainer. They said no more.
Hey.
And the LA Times guy, he wrote a report in the LA Times and said, the next time you see these two guys fight against each other, it's going to be for a lot of money.
Wow.
And it just, obviously, me and Victor are still, I mean, we're friends.
Yeah.
That would have been a war because I respect his power. I respect his boxing ability. The only thing you can't compare between me and him, I think, is just my proof, my willingness to keep going.
Well, your chin too.
But with that being said, Victor Ortiz, I would say, and not trying to give him too much credit, but throughout my whole career, he's probably one of the toughest guys I've ever sparred. And I sparred the best from Barrios, Margarito, Angulo, Casamayor. Wow, who else? I mean, I sparred everybody.
Wow.
We got a message here from a boxing fan that was saying that after the Matisse Molina fight, it was such a brutal fight that he felt that neither fighter was the same after the fight. Do you agree with that?
I would say now I can say that now because that fight is the reason why I wear glasses today, which I never really told anyone that. I have 20/25 vision, but this is nerve damage that was caused during that fight. Damn. So my eyes won't work together as much, or they need these glasses to help them out.
Balance them out.
And you got to remember that was 17 staples on the side of my head, and Matisse was the first man to ever make me pee blood after a fight. So the guy did have some pop, but just during the fight, I didn't really experience the adrenaline going, so you don't really feel the pop until after the fight.
Well, I can probably guarantee that he was peeing after that fight too. So
peeing
after that fight.
Yeah.
And like I said, we both talked to each other. I talked to him 2 days ago, and he's doing well. I said, hey, let's do it one more time for the fans. He said, hell no, I'm retired.
So if you guys don't mind, I could throw in some better highlights real quick. We could kind of jimmy through ones like this, but of this brutal fight, because for the people that didn't see it, I'm pretty sure everybody did.
Can you imagine if they actually did do that fight again, though?
AJ, can you do something about the volume? It seems real high when you go to the.
It'll be the geezers at Caesars.
The geezers at Caesars.
Good pay-per-view.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember Matisse at that point in this fight. AJ, I think me and you actually watched this fight together. Matisse.
Actually, I was at Tim's having my truck worked on when this fight was on, and me, Uncle Rick, and Tim watched this fight together, and it was Uncle Rick said it was the most brutal fight he'd ever seen. We were all pulling for Molina, obviously. But yeah, this was an absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brutal fight.
So, real quick, pause that for a second, brother. Hey, John, when you are in the ring and before that first bell, because I want other fans, other people to actually kind of feel what you feel. What is running through your head that first round, right before the bell rings, or right before they let you go?
Well, like, it's funny because you watch the movies of Rocky, and from an outside perspective, being people that have never been in a ring before, they think, oh, it's all Hollywood. But there's a scene where Mickey tells Rocky, hey, or Mick tells Rocky, oh, what's wrong? He's like, well, I was hoping you didn't show up. Sometimes you think, like, well, not literally, but I'm saying, like,
damn, he's here.
it's damn, I guess the fight's going to happen right now. And, like, literally the announcement of the fight. I remember my first big fight, the very first time I had Jimmy Lennon Jr. calling my name. My dad had to smack me in the face to snap me out of it. So I was starstruck that Jimmy Lennon Jr. was calling my name. Like, wow. But
awesome.
no, you got to remember, when we get into that ring, we're not there to have an argument.
Yeah.
We're not there to see how many baskets we can make in a hoop.
Nope.
This man is going to try to kill me just like I'm going to try to kill him.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds brutal, but that is the reality of our sport.
Yep.
Because there's nowhere on the human body where I can hit you just hard enough to knock you out, but not kill you. In order to try to knock you out, I got to try to kill you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yep.
And that. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, Johnny, let's focus a little bit on, obviously you've been out of the ring now a while, and you got your new career going, and that seems to be going well. Like you said, it's something with it's satisfying, it's satiating that lust that you have for excitement. I mean, like I said, I don't think you never strike me as the kind of guy that could go sit behind a desk for 40 hours a week. You'd probably jump off a bridge somewhere.
No,
so
I couldn't do that. This was a perfect fit for me. Throughout my career, they had me go and teach the academy on defensive tactics and how to movement and punches and whatnot. And it kind of got the ball rolling there. And then they had me do 8 hours with the SEBs, which is our like elite, the elite of the elite in the deputy department, the sheriff's department. Mm-hmm. And that kind of lit the fire. And it was just a perfect fit, man. It was a perfect fit. It's a great job. I take it very serious. I want to be the best that I can be at it. Yeah. Just like I wanted to be the best I can be at in boxing, I'm gonna shift that towards being a deputy now. But yeah, it's a very fast-paced job, real hands-on, which I can appreciate. And if I have to use these, I don't mind using these.
Let me ask you a question really quick. So, I mean, this obviously comes to mind. I mean, do some of the guys you're dealing with, inmates, whatever, do they ever recognize you? Do they ever say?
It's funny. A lot of the I'm in the elevator. And another guy walks in, another employee, not a deputy, but he's an employee. And I have a mask on. And he goes, oh. And mind you, I have all the inmates, the trustees that are level 7s, which are pretty high up there. And he's going, oh, shoot. Oh, John Molina. And I looked at him, I have a mask on. I said, man, I think you have me mistaken. He's like, no, man, I know the Gladiator when I see the Gladiator. I'm looking at him. I said, man, I think you have me mistaken for somebody else. Try to give him the eyes. And then he kind of caught what I was giving.
You're trying to give him a little signal, huh? Like,
and he goes like this, and he walks out, and the inmates go, "Holy shit, that is you! Oh, dang, now it makes sense." And I was like, "Yeah, man, you know, it is what it is." And they're like, "Don't worry, Molina, it's secret safe with me." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna trust you guys."
Yeah, because obviously, you know, with your background, obviously being a professional fighter, being a high profile celebrity athlete, you know, you figure, you know, there might be some knuckleheads out there that want to kind of try to, you know, make it. They got nothing to lose. They want to try to make a name for themselves, take a cheap shot at you or whatever. I mean, that's always got to be. You're just not like a normal deputy. You're not like a normal Joe Smith that's in there and nobody knows or cares what he did prior to becoming a deputy, right?
Well, you got to be always very you know, alert. I'm always alert. You know, because that's all I need is everyone's ready for me to go hands on, and then there's going to be a video go viral of John Molina, wow, goes to sleep. I'm not going to let that happen, so I got to be super vigilant about everything, every which way I go, every way I walk.
Yeah,
I'm aware of all the inmates. So
I'd love to see the video of John Molina having to use that fist again though one more time.
Oh, believe me, it's going to happen one day, and if it does, you know. I don't mean to
get us the video first.
I want to protect myself and people around me. So
yeah. It'll be the pandemic. They'll be coming out of a bar like Roscoe's drunk or something like this, and Johnny walks up, where he has to be like, "Oh, what's up, AJ? What's up, dude?" You know.
Yeah.
But it also is going to go through people who know who you are. They're going to think, "Hey, you know what? This guy isn't a Floyd Mayweather. He's not a dancer. He's not a guy. This is a guy who went in there and cut people open, and he got cut open, and he knocked people out." I mean, it's like, you know, so that's going to go through your mind too. I mean, and you had a great chin. I mean, with the exception of DeMarco, but that was a whole nother situation. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, your mind wasn't even in that fight.
AJ, you bring up DeMarco one more time.
I'm trying to get Johnny to let me just spar with him.
Actually, DeMarco's a really good guy. We still talk from time to time.
Who, by the way, got ripped off on a decision recently.
I'm not really upset about that because it showed you in the Matista fight that was just a
kind of a fluke. It was a fluke.
A complete fluke. Yes.
Okay.
Hey, real quick, Mike, just quick. One more question, Johnny. If you go back and you look at just some of your losses, and you don't have many, you know, compared to the highlight reel that you have on your victories. Like I was even watching one of your fights that you had. I believe it was right before Matista against Pimentel. I mean, I could see you look at the referee telling him, like, dude, stop this fight. This kid's about to get killed. But if there was one fight that you could do over, if you had the opportunity to do over, which fight would it be?
That would hard to say, but of course that would be Broner. I think it would be Broner. Given the fact that I don't feel like there was just a lot of behind closed door things that went on, but maybe the Broner fight. But I have to respect Broner because he's actually a talented fighter. If that man actually focused on boxing, he would be a talented fighter.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads me to what we wanted to talk about a little bit today. And you still got a little time to stay with us for a little bit?
Yeah, definitely.
So me and AJ were talking actually earlier today and yesterday. You know, obviously you're doing you're a LA County deputy now, or is it LA County? Is it considered LA County?
LA County deputy. Sure.
LA County deputy. So that's kind of feeding the adrenaline rush. But I know if the scheduling permits, I know you probably try to watch as much boxing as you can. Am I right to say that? Do you still watch?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I keep up on it. There's a lot of good kids that are out there right now. A lot of kids making it exciting. Ryan Garcia, I used to let him come to my camp and watch me spar all the time. Who's another kid who's not there yet, but he's on his way.
Yeah.
I believe Teofimo Lopez is going to run the table in boxing for a while. But there's some interesting names to mix in the hat with him for sure.
So that kind of leads me to AJ. You talked earlier about Adrian Broner is coming back. He's training for a fight that's going to take place February 14th. I guess he's got a replacement opponent now, but it's a guy named Michael Rivera who's undefeated. I believe the guy's a lightweight who's going to be fighting at 140. Like you said, if Broner focused on fighting, he would be obviously better than he currently is now. I mean, he was a former world champion, I think a multiple-time world champion, but there was a couple of fights he kind of just, you know, like the one that comes to mind is the Sean Porter fight. He just seemed very disinterested the first 8-9 rounds of that fight, and then towards the end of the fight, he lands that one punch and puts Porter down. You're thinking, where was that AB?
Well,
What do you think AB at this point in his career can make another run at a title, or do you think he's just a gatekeeper at this point?
He can make another run. I think he's young enough to do it. He has the following to do it. He's arrogant enough to have the people want to. Remember, people pay money to watch him lose. They don't pay money to watch him win. They want to see him lose. But either way, their money's green, just like the next guys.
Yeah.
I think he can make a little noise. I think his prime years are robbed of him. And believe it or not, he hit me with that same shot he dropped Sean Porter with. And he's got some pop, man. They kick and crack. He's not a bad puncher.
Yeah.
He hit me with that shot and it got my attention. I actually felt Broner more than I felt Terrence Crawford.
Really?
Yeah, you told me that, Mike, that when you spoke to Johnny about that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you really think about it. I mean, think about the list, the who's who. I mean, when you look back at your career, I was telling Mike this. We were talking about the state of boxing, especially in the lightweight division right now. You have a lot of people out there that got these glossy records, and it doesn't seem like none of them have interest in getting in the ring with each other.
They're coming up with all kinds of excuses, and you know.
And then you look at a guy like you, and I think the glossy record wasn't what you were in boxing. You were in boxing to make memories. You're in boxing to entertain the fans, to bring them those Rocky-esque type fights, and you did. So I think even in your retirement, it's got to be a satisfying feeling when you go back and watch a fight like a Matisse or that magnitude of a fight. Most people in their entire career will never experience, especially these days. The comeback fight that you had against Mickey Bay, that moment, it's like winning a lotto ticket. You know what I'm saying? To be able to pull that rabbit out of a hat at that last moment when most people just kind of give up and go into, into drive mode and stuff. Those are the kind of things that people are going to look back and why people are always going to appreciate. And like I said, I was very honest when I said this. I'm not just saying this because I'm a fan, because I'm a friend, but when we lost John Molina to active boxing, we lost a huge chunk of what the heart of what fighters should have today. You know what I'm saying? They should have that no fear mentality. Not that they're afraid of fighters, no fear of the consequences. Sometimes consequences.
Actually fight.
Yeah.
I applaud you, Johnny.
They're afraid of the fighter. They're afraid of the consequences. You're right. Because everything's so big upon protecting that covenant O.
Yeah.
But if we go back into the history of boxing, with the Durans, we'll even go back that far. Not even that far, just to the 80s. Duran, Vinny Pazienza, Leonard, Hagler, those guys all fought each other. Hearns, and they had losses on the record, but they were still the elite. People got to stop being afraid of that loss and go for it.
Because those are the kind of those fighters you I'm going to say you included. There are Agottis of the world, the Durans, Johnny Molinas. These are the guys that we talk about when you're sitting around remembering fights. When you're sitting around, like AJ makes a good comment usually on the show about the barbershop conversations, about people in the barbershop talking about the fights. They don't talk about the two guys that fought a stinker for 10 rounds or 12 rounds, and they could have both had 50-0 records. They talk about the Molinas, they talk about Gottis, they talk about just, the Arguelles and Pryors. And, like AJ said, I mean, we lost a lot when we lost you to boxing, but, aside from your career now as a sheriff, deputy sheriff, have you ever thought about getting back involved in boxing on a different level, maybe later down the line once you establish yourself in your career and as time permits, maybe working with some fighters, assisting training or anything, maybe, commentating? Because I've always said this to you. I thought you would have been great behind the mic. Way better than Abner. No offense to Abner Mars, but way better than Abner Mars.
Punchy. Now I got to watch it a little bit. I think, I don't know, man. You get the itch. I would love to fight, but man, I don't want to make weight again. I think the heaviest I got out of my retirement was 186, and now I'm back down to 167, which is good for me.
Yeah.
Well, that's always been about your natural weight, because you're a pretty good sized guy,
Oh yeah, I feel very strong.
So you think you got a harder punch now?
I think I got a much harder punch because you have the body weight, and I know how to punch.
Maybe we need to get him at 154.
Mighty Mike made a comment about your hands. He was like, Johnny has like these calcium deposits. He's like, he's just got harder hands. And I made a comment to my brother when we were at the Wilder Fury fight. and we just got through eating and stuff, and you were goofing around, and I did something. You just kind of threw, you weren't even trying, just like this little thing. You hit me right in the rib, and I was like, all right. And I remember I walked out, I was like, oh my God, dude, I think I fucking cracked something right there, dude. You know, but it's true though. Some people just got those really, I was known as a hard puncher, but yours is different. It's like you got like a bag of rocks in your freaking wrapped around your hands.
I think it's leverage, man. And I can see, I just, like I said, yeah, I do love boxing. I would love to fight again, but I would never sell myself short or I guess discredit my family by watching a half of me go back in that boxing ring.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. As much as I want to do it, I wouldn't do it because I know I'm not what I need to be at this level to fight at. I respect every fighter out there.
Yeah.
I think that's a testament to the type of person you are.
Hold on, Johnny. When you turned 40, you and Matisse when you're both right around the 40-year.
Why not? They had Chavez fighting against what was his name? Arce the other day.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was a good fight.
Like I talked to Matisse the other day. I told him let's do it, and he said, "Nah." He said he's done.
He's done. He don't want to get hit again by.
Talk about Matisse. His son just got knocked out viciously.
Does he have a son that's fighting?
Yeah, he does.
I had no idea.
Yeah, his son's fighting. He got knocked out.
The kid that I'm following that I think is gonna be pretty good is Costa Zoo's son.
Oh yeah,
Tim Zhu.
Tim Zhu.
Yeah,
Mike, I think you had a little news about him.
Yeah, we actually just read something a couple of days ago, and they updated it today on Boxing Scene. He was supposed to fight. He was waiting to fight Patrick Teixeira, the one who basically acquired Munguia's title as Munguia moved up to 160. And obviously, you know Jaime. I mean, Jaime was a member of your camp, trained at your gym for a couple of years. And now that the fight with Castano has come to fruition because Teixeira was able to get a visa or a passport to travel here to the States, that fight's going to take place in February at Fantasy Springs. So that leaves Tim Zhu without an opponent. So he'll play the waiting game for a little bit longer. It appears that they're negotiating him to fight Dennis Hogan, the Australian kid. That's
a good fight. I like Hogan.
Yeah.
He's a tough kid. I mean, he's the one. He lasted 6-7 rounds against Charlo. I mean, what was it, like the 7th round? I think 7th or 6th or 7th round he got stopped.
And then
I think the Hogan fight is a great recipe to bring up the right guy because just like Ryan Garcia fought Campbell. Okay, Campbell's not a slouch, but on record, on paper, it was about a 60-40 fight, and it played out exactly like that.
I was calling it the same thing. What are the
people don't realize that?
Yeah.
They cannot afford to put Ryan Garcia in a 50-50 fight. He won't be in a 50-50 fight for a while, given the fact that they kind of lost Canelo already.
Yeah, meaning
they have Ryan Garcia, who's this monster in social media, monster in popularity, which is good for him. So they got to be very strategic on how they match this guy in his next fights. As much as he wants to call out the Tank Davis and the Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, I don't think he's almost there. He's almost there.
Not quite there yet.
I think he's gonna be a force in boxing, most definitely. Just not right now. Almost.
He lives right across the street from my cousin in Victorville.
AJ Michael, we've already gone over our pound for pound and whatnot. Let's ask.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing.
That's a good question.
Johnny, who is your pound for pound champion right now? Give us your top 3.
Wow, let's see. Canelo, of course. I just think he's the man in boxing, but there is one guy that will beat him, and I hate to say it because everyone's gonna hate me, but
I already know.
Andrade will beat him. Will beat Canelo, I think.
I mean, you called it.
Demetrius Andre.
Called him right. Yeah, it's possible.
I believe he is the best at that weight right now. Pound for pound, so Canelo up there. I would say. I know you're gonna say he's not proven yet, but I think Teofimo's up there. I think he's gonna be up there for a while, and of course Earl Spence.
Earl Spence.
He really impressed me. I personally thought Danny was gonna knock him out.
So did I.
For him to come back from that car accident, it shows that he is gonna be at the top for a while. That car accident was not a normal car accident, and he was able to walk away from it, and still fight a guy
that level.
with the skill set of Danny Garcia and come out on top.
And you told me
we talked about that big in length. We talked about that, and yeah, that was huge for Errol Spence to be able to just take that car accident and come back and almost like it didn't happen. It was actually quite impressive. Very
no, he's special. And right now, I know there's a lot of talk about Terrence Crawford being the best, in which he's a boxing savant. The guy is just a natural ability to fight is amazing. I've never sparred Errol Spence, so I don't know how much pop he has, but I fought Terrence Crawford, and he's definitely not a home run hitter, but his accuracy, his ability to break your rhythm makes him a very dangerous fighter. But I'm on the fence right now. I don't know who would win that fight between Terrence Crawford.
I was going to ask you that when the smoke all clears at 147, who do you think is going to be standing still? I still kind of lean towards Errol Spence because I just think he's proven at 147. I think he's fought the better people at 147.
Hey Johnny,
I think Errol Spence is a bigger, stronger guy at 47 than Terrence Crawford. But Terrence Crawford is not. He's a very close second. I mean, so close that one mistake he could be number one.
Do you think that Terrence Crawford's what you would consider a bit of a little light in the resume as far as having these marquee matchups? He hasn't really fought anybody the caliber of, say, like a Sean Porter or some of the fighters that that Errol Spence has already fought. Do you think that that's going to lean towards the advantage for Errol Spence, being the fact that he's fought the better fighters?
Yes and no. Again, the politics that be kind of hampered Crawford from being able to make the moves to go across the street to fight all the PBC fighters is where he needs to be. But I don't think it'll hamper him because he's a very talented individual. The kid can fight. But as we both know, this is a young man's sport, and Father Time is ticking away with Crawford and Spence. So you need to do it a lot sooner than later.
Yeah, what is Crawford now? Crawford's what, Mike, going to be 34?
Crawford, I think, is 33 now.
33. Yeah, that's right. And I believe Errol Spence just turned 30, right?
Yeah, but Crawford is a very he's a fresh 33 if he's 33.
Yeah, he hasn't really been in the wars. I mean, and plus, I mean, a lot of that could do with the fact that he's, like we said, he hasn't really had those hitters at 140 and 147 yet. So hey, Johnny, so you were saying, so in terms of the new prospects coming up, you said that this Tim Tszyu really impresses you. How do you think Tim Tszyu does against someone like, the other champions at 154, the other Charlo brothers? I mean, maybe not right away, but do you see in the future, maybe a year down the line, you think he beats one of the Charlos? You think he could beat the other champs at 154?
Well, anything can happen in the sport of boxing. But again, I think he's very young. He's got a lot of growing to do. I think they need to strategically bring him up the right way. Again, Hogan, I like that name. That's a good name for him. Yeah. Hogan's not a pushover. He's going to test him, and it's going to answer a lot of questions. But he needs to utilize the power that his name brings to the table and make those fights happen.
Yeah.
I think, because I think that's one of the things that I've kind of got a feeling from Tszyu is that he's not trying to live off of his dad's name. He's definitely a different type of fighter. He's fighting at a different weight class. But the thing that really impresses me about Tszyu right now is his maturity, mentally wise, in the ring and what he's done, his pinpoint accuracy, and he's got power. He's got pop. So, I mean, he's showing a high ring IQ at such a young stage in his career.
Well, you got to remember, you can attribute that to pedigree too. I mean, he's been around boxing his whole life.
Yeah.
You know, his father had a monster right hand. You know, he dropped Zab Judah twice in the same punch.
Yeah.
So true. Hey, so real quick, I know we've talked just a little bit about like PBC and different promotions. Who do you think is, as far as promotions go, is leading the sport right now?
Well, again, my opinion is going to be biased because I'm a PBC guy, but
me too.
I still feel PBC is the juggernaut. There's so much more I can talk about that I can't talk about on record. I can tell you about all the behind closed door stuff that I knew before it all took place.
Yeah.
But I think PBC they hold all the cards.
They do. And
They
that's
hold all the
something.
cards.
And Johnny, we've actually discussed that at length and a couple of shows ago. We talked about the promotions and how, and we're coming from unbiased eyes because we're not signed fighters to any of these organizations, but we just have looked at the landscape of boxing and what's happening now and what potentially could happen in the future. Last week we were talking about this deal with Top Rank where he's showing very few fights up until the month of April, because I think at the end of the day, there's just the platform, even though ESPN is the largest platform in sports, they're just not putting the marquee matchups on. And it could be because of lack of fighters. It could be for the fighters, they don't have. PBC just has a plethora. It's not even just the guys we know about, the Spences, the Danny Garcias, the Manny Pacquiao's. It's the up and coming guys. A lot of the up and coming guys that are really kind of, people are forgetting to pay attention to those guys because there's so many marquee names. Whereas if you look at Top Rank, you're focusing on the prospects because they don't have as many marquee names. I mean, all three of us are in agreement. Actually, all four of us today is that PBC is the juggernaut. Going forward,
is what HBO used to be to boxing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much are. They
In a nutshell, PBC is what HBO used to be to boxing, and that was done specifically and strategically by one man. So, and he made it happen.
Yeah.
Very, very smart man.
Johnny, we're talking about this thing with Top Rank, and it seems like Top Rank, it's kind of empty rooms here from this point out. It doesn't look like there's going to be a whole lot of emphasis put on the future as far as our forecast of upcoming bouts. But with the talk from guys like Teofimo Lopez, pricing, which I feel is already pricing himself out when he's demanding $10 million a fight, and now you got Bob Arum coming out saying that, he feels that the marquee matchup would be Ryan Garcia against Teofimo Lopez right now, because you got to think, where does Teofimo go from here? And then you got Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney waiting in the wings, but Teofimo's pretty much made it clear that he has no interest to fight these guys because he doesn't feel that they're at his level. How do you feel about this?
I think Teofimo is the man when it comes to the future right here. I think the only way he's going to make the money he wants to make is when he starts fighting the PBC guys.
I agree.
I would like to see Teofimo fight the Gervonta Davis. That would be an amazing fight. That's a fight I can honestly say I don't know who would win that fight. I would like to lean towards Teofimo Lopez on that fight, to be honest with you. Given his ability, his attributes, the length, his IQ. When you have a good big guy and a good little guy, usually the good big guy wins.
Yeah.
Take the point, sure. Mikey Garcia, Earl Spence.
Yeah.
So right now, I think his hands are going to be tied until he gets over to the PBC platform. A lot of these guys will be that way, and that's just the way it's going to be. And eventually, they're going to have to cross the street to make fights happen in order to make the money they want to make.
Well, that makes up a genuine point too. And the Ryan Garcia, do you feel that there were some questions answered? Because for me, myself personally, me and my brother Mike and Eric, we had a lot of discussions prior to this fight, because I honestly didn't feel, even though Luke Campbell looked like he had the pedigree, like he had the gold medal and everything else, I kept telling my brothers, I don't think he's quite the fighter people think he is. And I think now the knockdown of Ryan Garcia in the second round was kind of a wake-up call for Garcia. So we don't really know, being at this novice stage in his career. But I think what really, really bothered me at that moment was the lack of aggression and the lack of an opportunity wasted by Luke Campbell having to hurt Ryan Garcia. What did you think about that?
Again, you have to remember, they are very strategic on making these fights happen. So when they picked Luke Campbell, it wasn't because they said, oh, we think he can beat him, he being Luke Campbell. No, it was because we know Ryan's going to win. It's going to test him just enough, but we know in the end he's going to come out on top. That's what you have to remember. It was a great fight. That's taking nothing away from Luke Campbell. He's a great fighter, but he was just enough of the test to progress Ryan in the right direction for his career.
Yeah.
Well,
so it was because it sounds so disrespectful to call Luke Campbell a soft touch, because he's not. He's not a soft touch, but
yeah,
it is what it is. If you want to be honest, it is what it is.
I'm sorry, Eric, go ahead.
One of the things is when you're in there, even if you know that you're not destined to win and they don't think that you're going to win, as a fighter, you still have that that puncher's chance. You have that ability to upset like you did with multiple upsets that you've done.
Well, Johnny, I mean, there were probably a few times in your career you were maybe selected as like the soft touch, whether Mickey Bay, Hank Lundy. So I think for you, I mean, coming from the position that you're coming from, I mean, if that was you in there at the Ryan Garcia, what would you have done if you were Luke Campbell? If you
would have killed that guy. Threw everything and this thing twice.
Yeah,
but that's the thing about that Luke Campbell fight that I noticed is after he had him down in the second round, then he just kind of backs off. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, he allowed.
You had to kind of give a little bit of credit to Ryan Garcia. He did come back kind of aggressive right after the knockdown.
No, he did. But look, just to put things in perspective for everyone that's listening, I think Ryan Garcia is 22 years old, right?
Yeah.
And they're bringing him up just the right way, kind of like De La Hoya didn't face his first 50-50 fight until he fought Mosley. He was already a champion for a while. And then when he fought Mosley, that was a pick'em fight. And it's going to be a while before we see Ryan Garcia fight a pick'em fight. Now let's go back to Fernando Vargas. By the time Fernando Vargas was 22 years old, he had already fought Trinidad and De La Hoya.
Yeah.
At 22 years old.
Yeah.
It was pretty much ruined at that point.
I mean, yes and no, but that should show you how good Fernando Vargas really was.
Yeah, I love to watch a Fernando Vargas fight. John, we got another question for you here. It says, what's your opinion of the credibility of a lot of the judges out there? This has been a hot topic for us for a long time. I know you coming off that very controversial, which I would say 10 and a half out of 11 believed you won the fight against Figueroa. I personally watched that fight about 6 times. I don't know what the judges were watching. So what do you think about the state of judging today in boxing?
You have to remember that the judging is there's 3 different criterias to judge a fight off of: effective aggressiveness, punches landed, and ring generalship. Now, if you have 2 judges that love ring generalship, but the other guy loves effective aggressiveness, you're always going to have a lopsided judging. You got to come up with one rule to specifically judge a fight and leave it at that. That's the only way we're going to get rid of all this lopsided cards or different cards.
Zach, don't fight in Vegas anymore.
How shocked were you, Johnny, after that Figueroa decision?
It is what it is. It pissed me off, but I thought I did enough to win the fight. I think I think Al Bernstein, a lot of these guys thought I won the fight. Joe thought I won the fight. Lennox Lewis thought I won the fight. I thought I did enough to win the fight, but again, water under the bridge. At that point, like you said, it's up to you to either knock him out and don't leave it in the judge's hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it seemed like it didn't kill any of the opportunities, because right after the Figueroa loss, I believe you had the Lipinets opportunity, which, obviously it got canceled. But other than that, then you had the Josecito Lopez. So, I mean, opportunities were still there. So you were still a hot commodity in your banner's minds.
No, most definitely. But again, like I said, judging, that's why I always liked that I possess power, because I can always change the fight with one punch.
Yeah.
I love Mickey Bay.
You don't need a judge for that.
It was Mickey Bay actually recently lost a fight to that George, the kid that's going to be fighting against Teofimo Lopez. He had lost a fight. It was a split decision loss. But there was George Cabalas, Mike's Cambosis, yeah. But the point was during the telecast, I went back and I was watching it again. They actually mentioned you during the telecast, and they were talking about, let's hope that this isn't a situation, the Fights Club, where Molina, it was kind of like the Marvel, they're like, Molina's got him on the back, and there he is. It's like, but it wasn't. He's like, they're honest. They're like, not too many people possessed the kind of magic, that one hitter magic that you possessed.
Yeah,
probably still do.
Well, that's always been a gift of mine. I know if I hit somebody, I'll hurt them.
Exactly.
So, hey guys, we've been going for a little longer than an hour in here. Is there, Eric? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
Just do me a favor. Don't ever hit me, because
no. Never.
One more fight. One more fight.
Okay, let's end on this, Johnny. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but I mean, you obviously are staying involved in boxing. With whether it's still communicating with some of the fighters, like you said, you've been doing Matisse, DeMarco, whoever it is you still talk to, Lundy. do you still stay in contact with your former trainers, Joe Goosen, Robert Alcazar, Robert Garcia? And what do you see? What do you see? Any of these guys have some good up and coming prospects or fighters to look for in the future?
Yeah, pay attention to Rene Moreno that Robert Alcazar has. Kick and fight. I used to spar with him. He can pop for 130 pounder. Shoot, I think he's going to grow into be a solid junior welterweight at 140. He's a big kid. He's hungry. Unfortunately, due to COVID, that it kind of put everyone on the back burners for some time. But hopefully we turn that curve and we get back to normal, and we get to see these young fighters come up. I still talk to Joe Goosen all the time. Tom Brown called me the other day, just checked in with me.
Yeah.
You got to remember the boxing community is a small community, so we all kind of still stay in contact.
Yeah.
And when fights do open back up, better believe I'll be there in the ringside watching the fights.
And hey, real quick.
I can't wait to see you there.
Yeah. So real quick, because of that, hey, Johnny, next time you talk to, a Matisse or heck, anybody, let them know about Enter the Ring. And we would love to be able to have them come on and talk as well. So,
well, none of us speak Spanish. So.
Anybody, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Goosen, get Goosen on here. We'll be good.
I'll get Goosen for sure.
There you go.
He's a character. He's a very well-read individual.
Yeah.
Speaking for myself, and I know my brothers too, and Michael will close us out right here. Johnny, I want to say from the bottom of our heart, thank you so much, Johnny, for coming on today. Thank you for the memories, Johnny. Thank you for the memories in the future that you're still going to create. God bless you and your family and stuff. Be safe out there on the streets, Johnny, because we know you're going to keep everybody safe. But once again, like I said, I mean, boxing, hopefully we have somewhere out there in this world, there's another Johnny Molina coming up, a guy who puts his heart in front of the dollar signs in his brain.
Yeah.
So with that said, Johnny, we encourage you to come back anytime.
Hey, maybe one more fight. We'll see.
Hey, and Johnny, and I'll close on this too. We're going to let you have the last word to say anything you want to say. But Robert Alcazar does have he's got another Gladiator, and I told him this new kid Maximus Castro that he's working with now, and I told him, I said, hey, that's a tough nickname to live up to, man.
That's the kid I saw.
He's got the Gladiator logo like here.
Yeah. Oh wait, before we hang up, why don't you stand up and show everyone that jacket you have on? That's a classic right there. Yeah, and that's one of the most popular ones right there.
Yeah, this is.
Hey, I was going to ask you. Hey, so
the Cobra Kai.
AJ's got the Gladiator shirt on. Michael's got the jacket. Brother, I don't have anything.
Don't tell him about the underwear you're wearing.
Oh yeah. I didn't tell you. Yeah, I stole a couple of pair of Johnny's sweaty chonies when he wasn't looking. I got them on eBay. I'm up to like 13 cents right now for.
There you go, maybe 14. Hey, I'll get you some gear, man.
Perfect. Just a hat or something, anything. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was actually, I'll be honest with you, when Mike came out and that was the telecast and Mike was on, that's when you fought against Figueroa. And I knew about it prior. You guys had talked about it. But God, I mean, you talk about, and now with the popularity of Cobra Kai, maybe maybe you need to give him a call. Maybe you had a little something to do with that popularity, Johnny, because you were kind of doing this before that,
Oh, I loved it. You got to remember, I always had a different theme on each outfit I wore. Back to the Future, Cobra Kai,
Metallica.
Kid. Then you did the Rocky thing for the last fight.
Rocky, Cobra Kai. I did He-Man. I did everybody.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
And
awesome.
any last words you want to say, Johnny, before we
get out of here? Cobra Kai.
Say hi to your friends.
There you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you guys. You guys tune in to Enter the Ring. It's been great, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, Johnny.
God bless, man. Thank you.
All right.